Sounds good.
All right. So, hey folks, welcome to Google Developer Student Club's PDU chapter. The session's all going to be about fundamentals of management. We have Steven Tazic as our speaker. He has years of experience into management, and I'll actually let him speak more about it. Um, yeah, let's move forward. So, why management? Well, management is. I read this quote a while ago and I really resonated with it. So I thought I'll just put that in here. Management is really a practice where we combine art, science, and craft. So it is something that you really need to have in your life, even if it's not your profession. So I hope that you folks learn a lot during the session today. Um, Hi, I'm Jay Gohil. I'm the Google DSC Lead for GDSC chapter here. I'm also an author. I became that a while ago, a research and data scientist, but that's more about me and about the speaker. We have Steven Tazic, and he's general manager at LD Partners, Washington, USA, and he has years of experience. More about him later. And after he is done speaking and sharing about his experience, we'll move on to a Q&A where you can ask your doubts. All right. Um, yeah, so Steve, I'll give it to you now. I'll unshare my screen and over to you.
Sounds good. Let me just share my screen. All right. Can you see a marketer's journey?
Yep, I can.
Cool. So to introduce myself, I am the general manager at LT Partners, which is a digital marketing agency. I'm actually based in Illinois, not Washington, but the company headquarters is in Washington. I'm just outside of Chicago. So to give you, a quick background about who I am and where I came from, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Feel free to do that. Links here. And then I went to university at the University of St. Thomas, which is a private school in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was actually a computer science undergrad. This was a long time ago. I started in 1997 and graduated 2001. And at that time, they were teaching us programming in a language called Pascal. If anybody's ever heard of that,
Yeah.
One of the OGs. We eventually moved on to some Java towards the end. I personally realized very quickly, I couldn't code very well and do it, all day. So I pivoted and I got my graduate degree at the University of Illinois in Chicago in management information systems. And this helped me kind of blend that foundation of coding and computer science with more information systems, which easily lent itself to go down a marketing path. And I firmly believe that marketing, all my original technical skills has helped me excel in digital marketing because it's all about data in digital marketing, and there's no shortage of data. And so I started my career on the brand side. I started my career at a company called Design Toscano. They are a company that sells antique reproduction furniture and a lot of goofy stuff for your garden. You can buy gargoyles and dragons and that kind of thing. And it was an interesting place. So cut my teeth there. I actually did 2 stints there. I worked there for 2 years, then took another job at this promotional marketing company, and then was recruited back by my manager. And he convinced me to come back. And my first day back, he tells me, I'm leaving. And he took another job. So he brought me back. But in all honesty, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it kind of threw me into the fire. And, I was the one running the show for our e-commerce business at that point. So it, I think it helped accelerate my career pretty quickly. So I stayed there another 2 years. In 2008, I went to this company called Apt Electronics. Apt Electronics is the largest independent appliance and electronics retailer in the United States. They only have one store, and they were doing over $1 billion out of that one store. And I helped them grow their e-commerce business and take them, more as a national brand. And I was there about 6 years. I had realized that I had a ceiling at Apt. I was reporting directly to John Apt, and I don't have the Apt last name. And so I, started to think about like what else I should be doing. And I was using this marketing agency called Rise Interactive to run Apt's paid search. And so I had reached out to the CEO there and asked, hey, if you have any clients that are looking for my type of talent, I'd love to chat with them. And he's like, well, we're growing really fast here. You should just come work for me. And so I pivoted in 2013 to the agency side of the world. And so at Rise, I started an affiliate team and grew that very quickly to mid 7 figures of revenue and over 20 people on the team. Started a programmatic team, grew that very quickly. Programmatic is like display banners, video, digital video types of ads. Grew that very quickly. Started an email team, and then eventually took over the paid search, paid social, and organic search teams. I also spent some time on what we called our innovation team, helping lead the team to developing a omni-channel personalization product, so we could do personalized ads across, display banners, email, direct mail, etc. So I was there for 6 years. The company ended up selling the majority shares of it to another company called Quad Graphics, and environment changed a little bit, so I left, and I did a pretty short stint at Redbox. Redbox is a movie rental business. They have red kiosks across the United States where people can go and rent DVDs. And out of those kiosks, you could also rent video games. So I was running their video game business. As you can imagine, the company, while it was in its heyday, multi-billion-dollar company, it was shrinking because of the rise of streaming platforms and all that. Yeah. So, I spent a short time there, but, while I was there, I was introduced to Lacey Thompson, the founder of LT Partners, and she has a very similar background to me, where she started on the brand side, then went to an agency, helped grow that, and then she smartly woke up one day about 3.5 years ago and said, I should be doing this on my own, and started LT Partners. And so our conversation clicked immediately. I think having the shared experience of being on the brand side, working with many different agencies, and then going to an agency and seeing everything from, the other side of the table, where LT Partners is very focused on transparency, not only for our clients, but for our employees, for the vendors that help us grow, and we help them grow. We believe, transparency is a core pillar of being successful. We're also very focused on data, obviously. Being in digital marketing, there's no shortage of data, like I said. So, it's how you use that data to make decisions that, is really crucial to being successful. So that's my quick background. Here's kind of my timeline down at the bottom and just some highlights. We helped grow app.com to, number 151 in internet retailers, top 500 e-commerce sites, basically like a ranking of all sites that do e-commerce. Spent 6 years on the leadership team at Rise, started all these teams, which I mentioned. For Redbox, I actually turned the first profitable quarter in over 3 years when I took that business over. And then, at LT Partners, we've been growing very fast. When I started, we had 6 employees. Now we have over 30. And so growing over 100% year over year, each year.
That's great.
So then these are, just some of the teams that I've ran and managed. Grew the programmatic team from 3 to 18, 850% increase in revenue. These are some of the clients that we worked on and, some of the partnerships that we built in that channel. For the affiliate team, these are some of the clients that we've run, and then, also partnerships. And then, just some of the other teams.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, keys to success, and I couldn't achieve any sort of success without the right team in place. So, specific to digital marketing, right? The most important thing is to have, the right analytics and measurement framework in place. There, no shortage of data. I'm going to keep saying that, but it's important how you view that data and understand that data. There's many, many different platforms, and every place that you try and buy media from and drive traffic, right, is going to have their own siloed view of what that data looks like. So, while those views are important, it's also important to be able to view the data from different vantage points, right? If paid search is tracking in a silo, many of those conversions that are coming from paid search also touched your email channel or your affiliate channel, right? So, I would say the most important aspect for any business is really understanding your data with the right measurement framework in place to be able to look at it from different angles. Throughout my career, I think, transparency has been a key focus. If you don't have that sort of transparency, you're not going to be successful. And that's, true with management too, to build, trust with your team. A quick example of that, like when display banners first got off the ground, before any of the DSPs or demand side platforms sprouted up in the programmatic world, everybody was selling, ads on a cost per 1,000 impression basis, but it was a flat rate, right? And then the programmatic world sprouted up, and now it was suddenly an auction to buy certain inventory. And so, the price would change, and many agencies or media platforms would still sell on a flat CPM, so they'd be selling on, say, a $5 cost per 1,000 impressions, but they were really buying it for only a quarter. So if you don't have the transparency into, really what's going on, there's no way for you to be successful. It's somebody else, holding the keys to, and basically lining their pockets. So I've always pushed for transparency in every aspect of business. Talent and culture, enabling your teams to shine is the most important. That's really what I'm here to talk about. And then, building partnerships as well. There's many, many other complementary businesses out there that can help you as an employee grow and, your team grow. And so really building relationships with other people, other companies, other networks is really key to being successful. So this is really why I'm here, to talk about my core beliefs in managing people. And so I'm gonna, and it's a pretty simplistic, core belief system. So I'm gonna go through it one by one. The first one is you need to hire smart. You are not going to be successful as a manager if you have, the wrong team in place. Hiring the wrong person can detract from your entire organization. It takes, hurts the culture. It takes a lot of time away from, that should be spent on more fruitful things. So hiring smart is, really the first key in being a manager. Having a good interview process and getting the right people in place for you to succeed. So with that said, as a manager, this is the hardest thing you'll ever have to do, but it's fire fast. If somebody is not a fit, there is, no bigger detraction to your company than trying to keep them around and trying to fit, a round peg into a square hole. If they truly, obviously you give everybody, a chance to be successful, but like it can be very clear early on if, they'll never get there. And so the hardest decision, a manager has to make or company has to make is letting people go, but it's one of the most important decisions for your company's success. The next one is enabling your team. So, this is really around ensuring that your team has every tool, technology, in order to succeed. I am the general manager at LT Partners, and, I think my main role as the general manager is to make sure that my team has, all the right tools to make their job easier and more efficient and less frustrating, right? So we've spent a lot of time researching tools in the marketplace that we can go out and license. We've built a lot of proprietary tools that, help our team get to the data faster to make decisions. What I don't want is my team, spending time, trying to find a needle in a haystack, right? Like with digital marketing, there again is no shortage of data. So, I don't want to just, give my team like this database of raw data to like try and find insights, right? I want to build tools that can put the insights right in front of them and help them make decisions on how best to optimize our clients' campaigns, programs. So, it's really important as a manager that, you're enabling your team with the right technology for them to be successful. And technology changes all the time, and there's, literally millions of different options for technology. So, it's not the easiest thing to do. But, I've always found that giving your team a voice and letting them go explore and try and discover things and play around with new tools, helps them, communicate with you like, hey, if we had this, I could do my job better. So that is really important. The next one is probably the most important. Like, it's empowering your team. I really don't believe in micromanaging. I think giving your team the freedom to excel at what they do is how they become most successful. Your team, going back to the first point, right? If you're hiring smart people, giving them the leash to, discover new ways of doing things and improve on your current procedures, is absolutely crucial for their success and really their happiness. I think when you empower your team and give them the freedom to, carve a new path, they're happier. They feel like they're have ownership in the organization and ownership in the success of a company. So, it's really about empowering them. And one of those, important aspects of empowering your team is really to give them your time, right? I am here to be, the definition of a manager, right, is for my team to come to me and bounce ideas off me. And what I try and do is, steer people in the right direction and give them ideas on how to, solve certain problems. But, I really want, my team to be able to, somewhat solve those problems on their own and figure stuff out. I don't ever want to be a manager that's saying, you do this exactly this way, and there's no altering that path. I think, some of the, largest corporations in the world, are very big and slow moving ships, right? Like LT Partners, a lot of the companies that I've been at, we want to be able to move on a dime. And if something can be improved, like that should be embraced. And so empowering your team to make those improvements, really makes, your company better and successful. Transparency, that I said was one of the core things throughout my career. I think it's really important to build trust with your team. You need your team to trust you and to come to you when they have an issue. You really need, giving them transparency allows you to, build that trust and have more constructive conversations around, what's going on. The most important aspect for an employee that's reporting to somebody is managing up. This is over communicating, exactly like what you're working on or like what path you're going down, right? There at Rise, one of the CEO's phrases was like, basically no surprises. There should be no surprises if like there's a client issue or something's wrong, right? It's managing up so that transparency flows both ways. But, understanding, managing up is also like identifying like some of the pain points of your manager, right? If I'm doing something that, let's just say takes me forever every month or something, as an employee, being able to kind of manage up and, if there's a way to alleviate some of that pain by, organizing a piece of that project better or whatnot, it's really important. For a manager, it's important to like paint a picture of what success actually looks like, right? I think part of this is, and what I've always tried to do with my team is help them take a big step back from their day-to-day in order to see the bigger picture. It's very hard for employees, especially employees just starting out who are, in the weeds on specific projects, or, in the agency world, if you're managing clients, you can get, sucked in by 1,000 little tasks that you have to do for that client. And sometimes the big picture like actually gets lost. And, sometimes you have, say, a client or another employee, kind of dictating these things that aren't necessarily aligned with the big picture, right? And so, like using this agency example, like let's say where you have clients, but this could be the same in, a single business corporate world where you're working with other departments. There are always going to be, thousands of things that, people think that they need to get done just because that's the way that they've always done it, right? And having the ability to take that big step back and recognize, what is the main goal here? If you're an e-commerce business, obviously it's, driving conversions and revenue. And so being able to take a step back helps you kind of prioritize and identify, of all those 1,000 things that, you're supposed to be doing, which ones are most important, which ones are actually going to move the needle for that big overarching goal, right? And so, as any employee, yeah, I think it's important that, you really understand the big picture and that you push back on certain things that, really don't make sense or align with that big picture. I don't think anybody wants employees that, don't have a voice or an opinion on things, right? You don't want to just have your head down and be a robot of sorts of, I'm going to do this because we've always done it this way. So, to kind of sum that up, like really understanding that big picture helps you become a better employee, because then you can make decisions and have, constructive criticism on certain things that necessarily don't align with that big picture, and you can do better work, make your company more successful. And finally, I just wanted to make this point, like, managing is not just about, managing your direct reports, right? You're, depending on where you're at or what company, you are working with other departments, you are working with, other business lines. And it's really important from a management perspective that, you're managing those other teams and their, what their goals are, and building relationships, across departments and business lines, etc. I learned this, I think very quickly the hard way. When I started at Apt Electronics in 2008, I was super excited because I'm kind of a technology nerd. And, I was at a store that sold like the coolest technology, right? And so I came in kind of guns a-blazing, and like I had to shake things up and show, my worth. And while I was running, really the e-commerce business, there was the IT department that really like held the keys to everything that had to do with the website, right? We had a website that was coded from scratch essentially, right? And so they held the keys. So I had all these ideas, and I kind of came in like a bull in the china shop, just like, here's what we need to do, like do this, do that, and got off on the wrong foot with the head of that IT team. And it, kind of set me back for, I'd say the first year or two, because, I kind of came at, what I wanted to do the wrong way, trying to make a splash at a new company. But, it kind of like, at the beginning, like hurt my relationship with this other department, kind of barking orders at them. So I learned that lesson very quickly, that like your goals as a manager, as an employee, as a team can only be successful if you're, working nicely with every other team that, is a key component to your success. And so, really managing, other teams, employees, like is really important if you need stuff from them. And that's, really all I had in terms of my core beliefs in management. So, the rest of this deck kind of goes through some of, accomplishments, but I'd love to open it up to Q&A if that works for you guys.
Yeah, sure. All right. Okay, folks, so we have both the options. You can unmute your mic and let us know if you have any questions, or you can also put that in the chat. Both fine. Okay, Rishikesh, yeah, you can go ahead.
Hello, Steven.
Hey.
Actually, I have two questions for you. As you said that you had been a computer science student. So my question is, how did the knowledge from that part of your life helped you in the work that you did in the past 17-18 years? Also, how pivoting your career from the tech core towards management and marketing was? Like, was it tough, the challenges, etc., or any specific things that you would like to mention?
Okay. Yeah, for your first question, I was a computer science undergrad, yes, and learned some Pascal and Java. In all honesty, I learned so much more from a work study job that I had. It was at this multimedia lab at University of St. Thomas, where we were essentially had all technology that we could ever ask for, and this is 97 to 2001, so like Adobe, Photoshop was just getting started. Macromedia, Dreamweaver was how you built websites, and Adobe Flash was like a big component of it, right? And so in this job, like, we were there to support teachers with building some class materials, websites for them, that kind of thing. And I really feel that I learned more in that job than I did in like the coursework type studies. So I believe the question was, how did I translate from computer science to marketing? Was that it?
Yeah, and how was the transition like? Was it hard? Was it smooth sailing? How was it?
So I think having that technology background lends itself perfectly to digital marketing, right? In digital marketing, it is, again, all about data, but it's all about being able to understand how everything is tracked, right? Everything is tracked with, different JavaScript code snippets, or, APIs even, to get your marketing out there. It's all about understanding how to work with large data sets, right? For e-commerce shops, it's being able to, build a product feed and make it attractive to, the different platforms that can accept the feed and, advertise your products, essentially, right? So I think, the computer science background is really why I've been successful in marketing, by, having that technology foundation to, be able to better navigate all of the different aspects of, being successful in digital marketing, and actually being able to execute anything, and then in terms of, understanding kind of the foundation of how things work, I think has helped me be more innovative. I mentioned I built I worked with a product team to build a omni-channel personalization solution. That team was built because I was able to, basically string a technology stack together in the programmatic world, where I licensed an ad server and had that ad server connected to a product feed, and had that ad server connected to our a DSP, or demand side platform, to identify an individual, to, basically, if I see this cookie ID, I know that they looked at this product, and here's the recommended products, if they looked at this one, by using the data of everybody who bought this product also bought these products, right? So like, I think having that technology background and, an understanding of how code works and how anything works has really helped me be innovative in terms of, building products, tools, in the marketing world.
Mm-hmm. Right, great. We have a few questions in the chat, but I think Nachiket raised his hand earlier. So yeah, Nachiket, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hello, Steve. So I had a question about, stress management, as at your position as a manager. There might be certain times where you might be getting stressed, maybe because of something or the other. So how do you handle that, and how do you stop yourself from, like maybe projecting it on your team?
Yeah. I think it's really about like breaking down the issue into different components, and it's really like talking openly with your team about different paths, you know, to solve whatever the stressor is. You know, I like personally, I'm a pretty like level-headed person, and you know, I understand that things happen that are sometimes out of our control, or sometimes that, you know, we caused. But I've always felt, you know, if something happens, like there is no reason to sit and dwell on it and like harp on like, you know, why it happened, right? The most important key for it, for any sort of stressor like that is, okay, how do we not allow that to happen again? What procedures do we have to put in place to make sure that we don't make that mistake again? Mistakes happen all the time, and it's okay. And like failing is part of, you know, the most important aspect in learning, right? It's really how you you know, address any sort of issue that may be causing stress, than harping on that specific issue. I think that somewhat answers your question, right? But, you know, just in general terms, if there is a stressful issue, right, it helps. For me, it's, you know, talking to Lacey and the other leadership team at LT Partners, right? It's really just being open and honest and really transparent about like what's going on, to come up with the best way to address the stressor. And sometimes like it is just an error or a mistake, and you can't do anything about it. So, you know, again, the most important aspect for anything that causes stress is, all right, how do we avoid that from happening again? You know, what do we need to fix that?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we have a few questions in the chat. Ananya asks, being a computer science graduate, how did you decide that this is a specialization that would work for me from management? So I think she's asking, how did you realize that being a computer science grad that I do want to do management? I hope I'm correct, right, Ananya? Just say yes or no.
Yeah, I mean, you know, to answer that, like, I've always loved, you know, technology. When I was a little, you know, kid, I thought I wanted to make video games. But like when I got into the weeds of computer science, I, you know, just personally recognized like I didn't have really the right skill set or mentality to, you know, really like dig in and get good at it. And so, you know, I used it as a foundation in order to, you know, kind of pivot into digital marketing, which, you know, in the early 2000s, like was really just getting started. So like, you know, I think like it was kind of perfect timing for me to kind of learn computer science, and then this whole new industry was blooming that, you know, relied on a lot of this, you know, technology infrastructure and knowledge to be successful at it. So, you know, for me, that was really about timing. I you know, your last part about management, I don't think like anybody decides just to go into management, right? Like you're going to start your careers and be managed by somebody. But as you advance your career, you know, most people will get into management in some capacity. Like the more talented you get and the more, you know, projects that you lead, like you will all eventually be managing other people. So I don't think it's like a conscious decision of like, you know, I'm going into management, like I want to manage people. I think it's a factor of like how successful you are, you know, in your current role, and can you be more successful if you had a team of people that were just like you that can, kind of multiply your work. And some people, like, management is just not, what they want to do, and that's okay too, right? Like, there's a lot of very skilled people that I have worked with that just, weren't interested in management. But I think, for the most part, as you guys get more experience and get better at your crafts, management just kind of comes naturally because you're, elevating yourself, and then, you're helping other people, who are just getting started, work on the projects that you're working on.
All right. And we have another question from Jimmy. Yes, can you give some insights on how much networking plays a role as a person in management field, and how does one approach for solving problems related to this? I think the question broadly asks the role of networking in management in general.
Yeah, networking is extremely important, and I've always been somewhat of an introvert, and I've always hated going to, sort of networking events, whether it be a cocktail hour, or you sign up for a seminar and you got to kind of schmooze people and introduce yourself, and here's what I do, what do you do? I've never really loved that aspect of business, but it is extremely important. And the more relationships that you can build, the more opportunities open up down the line. I would never ever turn down a conversation with somebody that wants to learn more about you, or has a specific problem that they think you can help them with. The more that you give, the more that you get, right? And so as you build relationships, I still have relationships that I've built 20 years ago that are helping pay off today by, sending LT partners a client, or, introducing me to, a potential new employee. So networking is very important. And even for, the more introverted folks, you kind of have to find a way to, conquer those fears and, network as much as you can. Today, with all the technology out there, and, community building tools like Reddit and Discord, and I think it's, a little bit easier than, when I kind of started out, where you're going to, a cocktail hour with business cards in hand and cold walking up to somebody and saying, hey, I'm Steve, I do this. So, I think for you guys, taking advantage of technology, be it LinkedIn, Twitter, the more people that you can network with, it just increases your chances of, them helping you down the line. And, I think that also says the more that you can help other people, the more introductions you can make for somebody. Everybody wants to pay it forward, if you will, right? If you scratch somebody's back, even if they can't help you right then, down the line, it's, not unsurprising that, you can reach out to that network and people are happy to help.
Yep, exactly. We have Rishikesh. You have raised your hand. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I have two questions again. First one is, when you are hiring, what are the key qualities you look for? And the second one is, which one is better, the jack of all trades and master of none kind of portfolio, or being one of the best at one skill?
I mean, that really depends on what you're hiring for, right? If there is one specific pain point or role that you need somebody for, it's probably that person with that best skill set. But I personally hiring, again, is like the most important thing, having the right team. I personally have never, cared or, sometimes even like looked at like what university somebody went to. Like, that really doesn't matter to me. If you went to an Ivy League school versus, community college, like, it's really more about, I think the most important thing in interviews is like, can you see yourself working with this person? Like, when you have a job, right, you're with them every day, 40 plus hours a week, right? So I think the most important aspect in an interview is like, can you see yourself working with them? Are you going to get along? Are they, do they have the right morals? And, will they be, fun to work with? Like, or will it be, painful to work with them, right? I think that's one of the most important aspects. And then, it comes down to their skill set, right? Like, can they really do the role? I've always loved hiring people, that were more, as you phrased it, like the jack of all trades. I think trying to find like really smart entrepreneurial spirit type people that, may not be, the best at a specific thing, but like they've demonstrated that they can, figure it out, right? In digital marketing, we've had the most success hiring people with like more of an analytical mindset. I think anybody that can demonstrate that they have an analytical mindset can be taught the ins and outs of, running media campaigns or, running affiliate programs. It's really about, number one, I think, are you going to enjoy working with this person? And, interviews are tough. I used to hate, interviewing when I was first out of college. It was the most uncomfortable thing. But for all of your interviews, like, go outside of your comfort zone, like try and, be engaging and be likable. Because, I think the main decision for any hiring manager is like, is this person, am I going to enjoy working with this person? And then, next is like demonstrating that you can solve problems. I think it's less about like, having, as you said, sort of a specific skill set, but, can you figure out, if I were to give you a new challenge, can you solve that new challenge, right? Because any jack of all trades, can likely go deeper in a specific category if you need them to. But, again, as I first said, if there is a specific task or problem for a role, it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah. We have one last question from Marlin. He says, you said that you should have a good team. So was it like skills or behavior type? What criteria would you have followed more on? Okay, so I think that was on the same lines as Rishikesh, as in what did you look for, skills or behavior? So I think, yeah, right. So you got your answer. All right. Okay. All right, folks. So do we have any more questions? I think we'll wait for one more minute. If you have, raise your hand or put that in the chat box. And if not, we'll conclude the session.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I'll be dropping Steve's handles in the WhatsApp group that I created if you wanna connect with him, and I'll also drop our Google DSC handles if you wanna join for more sessions. I think maybe we'll have Steve again in the future. But really, thanks for taking out the time, Steve. I believe that a lot of folks learned a lot of things from the session. And it's quite unusual for us to have someone from the industry give us insights, which we usually don't know about. So thanks for that. And I guess we don't have any questions. So yeah, we will conclude our session. Thanks, Steve, and thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah, no, thank you everybody for your time. Looking forward to connecting. I'm always hiring, so if anybody needs a job, come my way.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Okay. Bye. Have a good day.